Hello and welcome to this Designing Music Now review of Fluffy Audio's Trio Broz. This is the solo violin in depth. And to start off, I'm going to play Bach's Partita in E minor. It's the Gavotte Partita on just the violins, and I'm playing with spiccatos and some vibratos on. Okay, that's a fairly unorthodox way of showing off the library, but I thought I would play that just to give you a sense of how lovely this violin has been sampled. And the sampling is only part of the beauty of this library. There's a great engine involved that I will get into in depth here, especially in this behavior page. You can do all sorts of things, almost like a programmer, to set the various expressions and articulations over time. Before I delve into some of the deeper aspects of this library, let's just hear what it sounds like out of the box. Let's say you don't want to do any of the tweaking yourself, and just play it right from the get-go. So here is the vibrato. Some really lovely stuff, and as you notice here, it is telling you what is actually happening in the various phases, and they break the behaviors into the sustain phase, legato, back to sustain, and release. And you can actually set each of these articulations based on, for each of the different articulations, and you can set how these transitions and fades are going to happen, but more on that later. You can sort of watch what's going on here, but you can also see it happening here. So if I press a note, and then I play a legato, it'll show you the legato volume, and then it'll show you the sustain volume. And it's picking up on the speed that I'm playing. And allowing me to do all sorts of things. Let me go ahead and turn on the close mics as well, which is done on the second page. Yep, they're all loaded. So very, very nice. The vibrato fast sounds like this. If you look at the behavior, it's set up by default to have accented, as if this is all controlled by the pitch wheel, which is really nice. It's all in the mid, so it's the lyrical attack is how it's set up here. And if we were to change that now, just for example, to sustain, it would be more like that. And change to bow down. You can set the legatos from détaché to expressive. And over here, you can set things like if the velocity is lower than a certain amount, you'll have legato. And let's say if if the velocity is higher than a certain amount, you can change to something else. Legato is spiccato legato. So another thing that they've done that makes this library special is this thing called the DCE, the compensator over here, the DCE range. This allows for the legato, when they change between one legato note and another, all of the volumes will match. So that makes it just a really nice for legato. So they have really put a lot of effort into the legatos. Here are some short runs. Very nice. Fast spiccatos. Love it. Here's legato espressivo. Of course, all of these can be triggered with the key switches down here. Really nice legatos. Here's some pizzicatos. I assume these were recorded dry, or actually with all these different mics. So it's dry with room mics, but there is a reverb setting that you can adjust. And I've got the warm long on there, but if you went to a cathedral or a large chamber, could have some more effect. And of course you can turn the amount of reverb up. So that's all really, really nice. I'm going to turn that back down and go to the default setting there. And check out the tremeloes. Very nice. And these harmonics are really nice too. Especially for any sort of ambient sounds. Now this is one of my favorite parts of the library here, the effects. Let's try that again. Love it. So each note plays a different effect. And Paolo over at Fluffy Audio goes out of his way to hire the best musicians. And he's learned from the past, if you don't hire the best possible musicians to do this, it's a lot of cleanup work after. So he's got some really nice sounding effects here. Cool. Oh, wow. All right, so those are the basic articulations. Now let's dive in and go a little bit more in depth. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you in the Trio Broz solo violin is the legatos. This is a separate set of patches that come with the library, and they allow you to key switch between the various types of legatos. Here we have the détaché. Very, very nice. That's the next one is the expressive or expressive. Very nice. Here's the slurred legato, which is brilliantly done. It's really hard to do these slurs with long distances, so let's try some octaves here. Nice. Fingered. Like that last one there. Let's try the spiccatos. Kind of nice with trills there. The fast détaché, this is a really nice articulation. Okay, fast legatos now. Well done, well done. Détaché 2, another style of détaché. Oh, interesting. There's a spiccato up there and a spiccato legato. All right, and here's the non-vibrato. Notice you can also turn the pitch wheel, and get different effects here, such as back to sustain, pitch wheel down, retrigger mode, and that mostly affects what's going on in the behavior. So let's look at, for example, the spiccato. You have a sustain, which is accented. Oops, hold on. It doesn't actually change that articulation until you go back here. So now, here's the behavior panel, and this is the meat of the library, I think, here in a lot of ways. Now if I change the pitch wheel, it should play the accented and then the spiccato. There's no rule going on back to sustain. So let's try the difference between spiccato and spiccato legato here. It goes sustain, legato, back to sustain, and the spiccato basically has to do with these max time durations, I suppose. And what else is changing? Oh, here it ends in spiccato at the end, in the back to sustain, whereas the spiccato itself has none. All right, so, and you can build these things as much as you want. In fact, you can even rename it. You can call it, spiccato X, for example. And change your articulations in any way that you want, like pizzicato round robins. Here, let's go with the fast détaché. And then here, just for the heck of it, change it to fingered legato. And here, instead of none, we'll end on the spiccato legato. And then also you can add some release, like a staccato, or here, let's try that again. Let's try another one, like just the expressive. Oops, I didn't change it here, but of course you have to go back to the overview to change to the expressive, the behavior. It's lyrical. Now if I put the pitch wheel down, starts with the accented, and then everything else is the same. Pitch wheel up, it'll do a crescendo. I showed this a little bit before, but another great feature here is if say the speed of playing is lower than 5 milliseconds between the notes, then it's legato. Actually, let's change that to legato is spiccato legato if you're playing quickly. And let's say if the speed is higher than the 5 milliseconds, you'll go to expressive. So instead of speed, you could change that to velocity and velocity here. Or actually, you can have a mixture of velocity and speed even. That's kind of cool. Let's change velocity, and let's say let's raise it a bit more. Just a bit more so that they match. Let's try détaché legato here. If it's lower than 82, and if it's higher, it's slurred legato. That should be easy to tell the difference. There's the slurred. If I play softly, I can get the détaché. How cool is that? So really amazing expressive possibilities there. The final thing I guess I should go over a bit more is this dynamics. Here, the mod wheel, you can actually adjust how you want that to behave from your different ranges here. That's kind of nice. You can set the natural or auto gain on. So let's put the auto gain up more. Volume is fixed to the dB specified in the mod wheel. All right. And the compensator, I've already adjusted this a little. It's normally set around -6 to +6, but that means that it will adjust. This gives you a wider range here. So let's lower that back down, say to that range. And you can turn it on and off. And it has to do with legato. If you read here, it says these settings affect the legato transitions, mainly in natural dynamic mode. So when the samples are crossfading, the volume differences between the samples are smoothed by the dynamic compensator engine. The velocity can also have additional effect on the compensator and provide more control. So this is a really nice feature to smooth everything out. You can increase the compensator. And all these other things you can inherit from previous and have the compensator time. You can lower that back down probably to stress the engine a little bit less. Cool. And then in the preferences, you can set all these to different values. So if you want to change your mod wheel MIDI CCs or anything else, you can do that. Vibrato amount, that affects the when the synth vibrato is active. And I'm not sure it is on this particular, in the violin. If you go to the non-vibrato in the other patches, like the cello and the viola, you can go to the behaviors and you can set some synth parameters here. I don't see that effect here in the violin in this particular version. So that's that. I think that's pretty much everything within this engine. We've got things that you can change here like reverb and Silkener. This is an EQ. Saturation is makes it a little bit rougher sound. So let's try that. You get a little bit more of the roughness. Limiter, that can help you with volume as well. I like sometimes having giant reverb on there. Pretty nice. So it's just a beautiful instrument that has all kinds of wonderful attention to detail on the legatos. Also, of course, here in the main patches, you've got lots of different opportunities to play pizzicatos and change the behavior of those pizzicatos so that you can affect the accented lyrical attack. Oops, that's vibrato. So if you go to the pizzicato, each one has its own set of things. And here you control the round robins. And I noticed that in the viola and cello, you can't change the types, but in this you can. So you can have random round robins instead. If you look here where it's telling you the round robin, it's going to randomize that. So that's a cool new feature of the latest violin. Dynamic smooth time. This is a nice set of features as well. If you're a programmer and you like to really program this instrument, you can do that. And I know that Paolo is both a programmer and a composer and a musician, so he's added a lot of those features in for people like us that like to do that. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this review, and definitely check out this library and check out everything that Fluffy Audio does, because they spend a lot of attention on it, and they're really like craftsmen, like in the days of old when there was a famous violin craftsman. I think that Paolo really envisions himself as that for sample libraries for the modern age. So check it out and definitely let us know what you think of the video. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Thank you for listening to the Designing Music Now podcast, a podcast dedicated to the craft of creating music for video games and interactive media. Please visit us at designingmusicnow.com for more info, news, and reviews on this subject. We would love to hear from you.